Hi there, this is Kathy Crow at the Crow Cottage, and it's such a beautiful day out there. I went on a nice bike ride and just got back. That's why I'm a few minutes late. It's so beautiful. I would have liked to have probably just stayed outside. And then when I came back, I sat in our side yard a little bit to smell those roses. They're wonderful. And then I was just relaxing, thinking, oh, no one's going to be on anyway. I want to just stay out and enjoy this. But there was a loud pop. I have no idea. I was startled. Our sprinkler system was on, and there was a squirrel on our power line, but he wasn't dead, and he was still moving along. And it wasn't that loud. When they get in the transformers, that's really loud. I've heard that, and I don't think that's what did it. And then I thought, well, I better come inside and make sure our sprinklers are going to switch to the next station, because maybe something's happened. And I knew I'd be doing this. I didn't want to find out 2 hours later that one station had been watering for 2 hours, but everything seems fine. I came in, the power was fine. It's already switched to the next station, and I think we're good. I don't know what that popping sound was. It was electrical sounding. It was just loud pop. And I guess it could be fireworks, but because it's close enough to that, but I don't think it was. So anyhow, enough chit chat for that. I want to remind everybody, yes, everyone who is a Stampin' Up! Person, I know you are excited to get the new catalog. I can't open it until tomorrow. We're not allowed to open it, so you cannot see it, I don't think, until tomorrow. And you know what? They're all the rules. Sometimes I don't even know what they are. I might be incorrect. Some people probably have already been showing it, but I will wait until tomorrow when this catalog goes live. But I have ordered several things out of it, of course, and today we're going to get to play with that. Today we're going to do It Starts With Art set. This is a really cute stamp set that I have enjoyed playing with a lot. I got out my Swirls and Frames set. This is from the old catalog that's continuing. So this is a great stamp set for all kinds of different things. So anyway, I'm excited to use it. And it worked really well with this It Starts With Art. So that's what we're going to be using today. And I was so pleased with all of the things in the dies pack that goes with it. I think you're going to be excited about that too. And I also wanted to tell everybody again about I have 2 spots left in my shadow box. Well, and that's sort of an 2 spots. I'm not sure that I do. I know the ladies who had those 2 spots told me they were going to be out of town, actually. They found out and couldn't make it, but they're planning on still doing it if they're left over. I kind of told them I don't know that they will be left over to do, but they are going to do it if they are. But I got such a great deal on these shadow boxes. These are heavy. They are so nice. Look how thick those are. And they have a nice linen backing. And our Free as a Bird set is so beautiful. It's going to fit in there really nice. It has this really fun little nest and the eggs, and oh my goodness, it's beautiful. So and they have all these little metal embellishments you're going to get to put on it too. It's fun. So I would like to keep it. If no one takes those, I would like to have one myself, but we will see. But I got such a good deal on these frames that I can offer this class at $20, which is an incredible deal for what you are getting, because you're getting all kinds of really neat things. So anyhow, it is June 21st, but you have to register at my Square Up store to be in the class. I can't give the class away. You cannot on this one, because there's a frame involved and all, you really can't just come and pay the day of. You have to register. And I really don't like people to just come the day of and pay that day, because I have to cut everything out in advance. And sometimes if you've waited till that day, a last minute thing will come up, and because you haven't paid for it, you'll think, oh, I just don't think I have to go. but unfortunately I have cut out everything for that class for you. So it really is polite and kind for you to register in advance, and I really appreciate it. I think almost all of my customers do that, and thank you so much. I do really appreciate that. And anyway, I think I'm going to swing the camera down, and hopefully you will be able to see what I'm doing, and I'll be able to see comments here in a moment. Right at the moment, I can't. I'm going to try to get my computer working so that you can. While I'm getting my computer working, you can see my host code, because there is going to be a lot of things that I know you are going to want to order in this new catalog. So just feel free to order away. And if you use this host code, I will send you a free gift, and probably they will be embellishments from the catalog, although I'm not going to make any promises at the moment because I'm not 100% sure what I am going to even place in my own first order. That's not something I've had time really to get around to doing, to thinking about. So I know I've kind of I've made a giant list. It's not going to happen, but we will see what that list gets narrowed down to. I started my list with a now, maybe, and later, and I'm just telling you the now column was ridiculously large, and so we'll just see what we can afford. That's always what it ends up being, right? What can you afford? Because what we would like is always going to be more. That's just the nature of humans. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say that's the sinful nature of humans, because I'm sorry, I'm very sinful, and it's unfortunate. But once you get to the what can I have rather than what can I give way of thinking, nothing will be enough. You'll always want more. So let's try right now. Let's try to go to the I've got enough. What can I give to somebody? Okay, that's a much happier way of life, happier way of thinking. Now, when I was doing the swirly frames, I wanted to do a bunch of things because I have a circle cutter, so I can just cut all these shapes out easily. And I wanted to use the, because I really like the new terracotta, I actually got out my Rococo Rose and terracotta, and this is Mango Medley. And I stamped a bunch of those. And I just thought I'd show those to you. I'm not going to use those today, but I thought I'd show them. As I was doing that, I realized, you know what? This set actually is going to go so well with this mango, or this It Starts With Art set. And I'm going to just use those same colors. So these are from the dies I've cut out while I was sitting there the night before. I think I started playing with the circles. I knew with some of these dies I would want to probably always do in a foil. Rarely am I going to do these buttons and anything else, but we'll see as the days go by. So I cut out a bunch of foil, and I also wanted to use up some of my Everything is Rosy, paper. It's really pretty paper, but I don't want it hanging around forever. I figured if I used it for this, but it actually didn't go all that well. I did cut it out, but it wasn't a great paper to use with this set. This set is going to always go best with a solid color paper or foil. The foil was definitely best, so I'll be sticking with foil. I'll be spending a bunch of nights cutting out. Now, the paper clips could be any color, but the buttons, and there's a cute paper clip, and like a binder clip. It's cool. I don't know if you can see it in my package, but there it is. And there's lots of buttons. You can do a whole bunch of things with one pass through your machine. Okay, so for this card, I told you I am using, now this is Cajun Craze blending pens, but although I am going to use the Cajun Craze ink pad, I'm not going to use these. I started to, on the darkest part and on a sample, actually, not this actual one, and realized these blending pens are way too dark for me to color with. I'm not going to be using Cajun Craze much because actually Pumpkin Pie is very close in hue, kind of. I think I probably used the light Cajun Craze here, but I used my Pumpkin Pie to blend it. So Pumpkin Pie, light and dark, and Mango Medley, light and dark. And then my Ivory is my secret weapon. This Ivory blending pen is actually a wonderful tan, light, beige, brown, whatever color you want to call it. It's brown, but it's very light, and it can blend many, many browns so that you get the hue that you want. But it's sort of hidden in the catalog because it's all by itself. It's just Ivory. It's with the color lifters and with, I want to say, black, I think, also. So people don't really notice it. But this is your secret weapon for blending nice things. I only used Ivory mostly where the wood is on this pencil. But I keep it always handy and ready to blend where I want something very, very light. And the color lifter I didn't use a lot of, but I tended to kind of overcolor so I could put my highlights back in. I don't like doing it that direction, but putting highlights back in's much harder than if you just leave a portion white and then decide later if you want to color it in. That's actually the better way to do it. But because I'm human, I'm not a trained artist. I'm sure trained artists know all these things. So our base card is going to be Mango Medley. And, oh my goodness, where did I put all of my, I had them all here. They're probably in my stack down here with the, all of my bird ballad things that actually, no, they're not. I see them all the way across the room. I thought I brought them over, but I guess I didn't, so I'll have to run over and grab all of that. And, oh, I know, I got distracted, of course, because I was playing with some of the rectangles that you get with that swirls. When I was hunting for the circles, I started to get distracted already with other things. So, anyway, so here's our Cajun Craze paper, but we are going to start with our white. Now we're going to do the background with the excuse me, swirls and curls, or swirl frames, excuse me. And so we want to start out with a pretty large piece. So this piece is bigger than what I'm going to need. That's what I want to have, but I actually want an even bigger piece. I want it to be pretty big so that I can stamp my circles really pretty randomly and freely. I don't really want to feel like I'm constrained at all. So let me move my pens, and I'm going to feel like I'm functioning better with some things off to the side rather than all clumped up here right around me. And I want to move my other paper off so I don't get things messed up before I even get started. So here's our Mango Medley. Excuse me. I think I must have inhaled something when I was outside because there's something definitely stuck in my throat. And I didn't use the stamp off method much. I did a tiny bit, but not very much. We're only going to use the big circle once, and that one is in Mango Medley. We're just going to do that once right in the center. And then the rest is all with the little circles. All right, now it is already June, and I'm just so surprised that June has happened already. My goodness, it goes fast. What happens to the school year? It just goes so fast. For everybody who has kids in school, I don't know if you're happy about school going fast or not. Some people are always really excited to have the kids get out of school because it means they're going to be able to go on vacation. and do some fun things they wouldn't necessarily be able to do. And now where did I put my Simply Chamois? There it is. And so I guess I'm very happy that I don't have to think about it anymore. Jeff's the only one that's going to be not in school when school gets out, and he keeps himself pretty busy. I know he'll be wondering what I'm doing. It'll be interesting doing my Facebook Lives this year with him home. I'm not sure how he's going to function with that, and I'm not sure how we're going to function with that. He thinks it's funny, you know, that I'm doing this in here, because he hears me talking and doesn't realize I'm not really just talking to myself, although sometimes I am. Like today, I think I am. I don't know that anyone's with me. So I'm going to use this little circle for the rest. The great thing about this swirly frames is that it also has straight lines, and that's what I did with some of my frames on that other one, is I used the straight lines too. So that way you can make your frames any size you want. You can also make them any shape you want. And I did that I used the straight line with this the little label, so that you can make it, you know, fit any sentiment that you want. All right, so we're gonna go. Oops, I better get my smaller stamp block out. I don't think I really want a giant one for this part. Okay, so we're going to just go ahead and we're going to stamp randomly around. I'm not too concerned about how it looks at this point. I don't really want it to be too matchy-matchy. And I think I don't really remember if I stamped off at any point. I don't know. But as you can see, I know I'm not using this whole sheet, but I just kind of want to see what it's going to look like on a bigger piece, and then that'll help me figure. And then when I get to the point of cutting it out, I'll determine which section of this actually looks the best. So we are done with this medley, maybe, we'll see. And now we've got the Cajun Craze, and that one's a little stiffer for me to push shut, and I am gonna stamp off on this one on some, but this is just purely random. Anyone's would look as good or better. But part of the problem of doing this is not doing too many. And I'm already thinking I've sort of maxed out an area here, and wishing I had not maybe done some there. So we will see when I get all finished whether I need something darker here, but I don't really want to put another one there, but I'm gonna have to. Okay. Oh, that was good. No more. Or no moss, wherever you happen to be. You don't want to overdo. This is a little overdone, as you can see. I don't think I did it that much. That's the problem with this sort of stamping. It's like, oh, this is fun, let's keep going. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, now I gotta start over again, because I was having way too much fun with that, and it just kept going and going. Okay, got that done, and I think those are finished. Now, that's it for the background. Pretty sweet deal, huh? I'm not sure of my actual card dimensions, so I probably ought to check, because these are like my leftovers that I did. I know what these dimensions are, because I was particular about it, but this is going to be the card this part is going on. So let's peek and see what it is. It's actually just a hair over. It's not even an 1/8. It's almost 4 1/8 by, oh boy, that's 5 3/8. 1, 2, 3, 5/8. 5/8. Excuse me. I have to count, because this ruler. I need this clear ruler so I can see through. Okay, I don't know if that really helps me, but I'm going to get out my cutting machine, or little trimmer, actually. And we'll see where we want to trim. I don't want much of an edge. I want it to be very close to this card. So if it's 4 1/8 wide, oops, I don't want to cut that. What am I doing? All right, I think I like this side of it a little more than this side because it was lighter here. So we'll cut off on this side more. And we'll just start, we'll start by, now this is, let's see, which way do I want it oriented though? I kind of want it oriented like this. So this is gonna be where I want it sheared in. So we'll just start by cutting like right there. And then I'm gonna flip it. So I'm gonna measure again because that's the rule, right? Measure twice. So it is. So we'll call it 4 1/8. It pretty much is. So I actually want it to be 3 7/8. So 3 7/8 is right here. And erring towards the cutting off more is gonna be probably better than the other direction. So now I'm gonna check. How come that's so... This is why I don't measure. I obviously cut off more than I expected. It's fine, but I didn't really want that much. Let me check my mango medley because I might need to trim this piece anyway. I can, although it's pretty close to where I want it, so I'm not going to. That is just hilarious. And I'm gonna measure this again to make, this happens every time. I much prefer to just go without having to try to copy something I've already made. When you're copying something you already make, it's difficult. So this is 5 and, is that a half? I can't tell because of all of my things on there. No, it's not quite 5 1/2. 5 and it's a little bit shy of 1/4. Okay, that's, I know, I'm measuring that. That's why I got into trouble. I need to measure this. Well, since I know this is 11 inches, maybe I better stick with my actual dimensions. That'd probably be the smart thing to do. So it is, just a tiny bit more than 5 1/4. Okay, so we will make sure this is the right length. And I already checked my width. And now I should be able to cut it. I'm gonna need it to be just a little bit shorter than that other one because my sides here are wider since I did that. And so I want the sides on the bottom to be a little wider as well. So I'm gonna just lay it on here and then get my dimensions this way so that I can make sure it's gonna match this card because it's already, I've sort of screwed up the dimensions. It's not gonna match my sample perfectly. Number-wise. Okay, so I do want it at 4 and that 3/4 would be 2. Well, 5 probably would be okay. So we'll just do it at 5. And I'm gonna cut just a hair off down here first. Okay, and then I'll flip it around and we'll cut it down to that 5 and see. Voila, finally, I finally did it correctly. So that's good. That's going to be there. And then we're gonna put that on top of this. But I think I am gonna trim my Cajun Craze just a tiny bit. I don't need to trim it very much, but I do want it to have a little bit less on the sides. I'd like to have more of my mango medley showing. Okay. Whew, I think we're set. Yes, that's perfect. All right, so we're done with the cutting board. I can put that away for now. I might have to get it out again to cut out something. I guess, oh, I will have to cut out something because I need to cut these guys out. I have to stamp those and cut those. But I just want to get this base card finished first. So we're going to attach these together. Then I need to go grab some copper cord. Now, Stampin' Up! Years ago, this was a very long time ago, sold copper cord, and I bought one spool. In those days it was way more than 10 yards because I've had it a long time and I use it a lot. And their gold cord is very similar. So I am buying a bunch of that gold cord today because I believe today is the last day. It is retiring. I'm sure they're going to get something similar eventually, but boy, I love that cord. It's a great size to put under your cards when, to adhere right straight on. You can't do that with you have to put dimensionals if it's a thick ribbon, and I like sometimes to just glue it down so that it's not quite so thick in my envelope. Now I'm gonna run over here really quick and grab this copper cord. So hang on while I go grab that. I have to get my scissors and do that. And then I will be right back. Okay, where is that copper cord? I know it's here somewhere. Oh, there it is. All right. You can hear me down here. I'm getting a pretty good sized piece because I want it to wrap around 3 times. So I'll need quite a bit of it. And there's my scissors. Trim this. Get that on there. And all right, got that glued on there. Now we're gonna wrap our cord around here 3 times. And I want to see where is the bottom. Now this is sort of busy, so I'm gonna make this the bottom, and that way my label will cover it some because that's just a little busier than I wanted. Ooh, I got a little more, so we're wrapping it more than 3 times. It doesn't really matter. And then I'm just knotting the cord there, a little knot. And then we'll make our little label and those other things and assemble it all, and this card will be done. It's a pretty quick one. This card set would be perfect for any office, school, business, or art people in general. Art people will love this set. It's got, what did I do with it? Oh, there it is. It's got the this cool ribbon, which is what I stamped on the inside of this card, an ink bottle, this paper clip or binding clip. There's a label that you can cut out, and this goes with that label. It's more flowery, so I wanted something very simple. This card is going to go to a guy, so I didn't want it to be too fussy. I love that it says follow your art. That it has other sayings that are cute too, like you make everything sparkle and etc. But this is really cute. The buttons are what make this set, I think. I didn't even know about the buttons till I started cutting it out. The pens are pretty sweet too. Now I should have scored this while I had my cutting board out, and I didn't. So I'm gonna just sort of make it work while I'm here. And now that we have our ribbon on, we can stick this on. Oops, this is what happens when you don't score it. It gets slightly crooked. All right. And so we'll just put some embellishments on there. I think I just glued it down on the other one, but it actually will lay a little nicer if I have dimensionals stuck on here. a little time consuming watching me do this. Now I'm kind of considering if I want to stop doing Facebook Live. If I do my videos with my video camera, I can actually speed up many of these steps. And I don't know. I'm not sure whether I want to do this. Oh, Freddie, you are here. I couldn't see that anyone was here. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And I looked at my last week's video. I think Marty Grimm's the only one who shared last week's video. So she will automatically win the drawing if I'm correct about that. If anyone did share, and when I looked at the comments, I only saw that she had shared, and that's the only way I can tell, because Facebook doesn't give me that information. I'm sure if I paid them a fee, I might be able to get more information. I'm not sure about that though either. I think that it's definitely a social platform. It's not so much of a sales platform. Oh, don't stop doing. Thank you, Freddie, for saying that. It is kind of fun, and it's nice to be able to chat with you guys. And I'm not going to stop doing it. What I am considering though is coming on and just doing part of it, and then finishing the rest, on a regular video that I can speed up. Doing it, Facebook is for some reason not downloading to my camera, and it's not my internet speed. That hasn't changed. It's actually a Facebook issue, and it's just started recently. It's been this way for a couple of weeks, where it's taking me literally 2 to 3 hours to download. And I download things all the time from other places, and it's not happening anywhere else. It's just happening with Facebook. So I think Facebook is just having all kinds of issues. So now that we've got this done, I want to stamp my pens and pencils and the Follow Your Art, and then I will be done with the stamping part. So we'll go ahead and pull this piece back in and grab my stamp block, and I used Memento Black, of course, and we only use Memento Black or some other water-based ink if you are going to use your alcohol pens, so that they don't smear all over the place. Now it comes together in one stamp, which if you wanted to stamp them separate, you could cut these apart. At some point in time, I might do that, but I'm going to take that back. I won't ever do that, because it'll make cutting it out so much slower if I do that. The die is in the 3, so when you run it through the machine, you don't want to have the pens and pencils separate. And if you wanted to just do one, you could always use your your marker, not your blending pen, but your marker to color your one pen and stamp the one. It's possible that I might want to do one at times, but I'm going to just leave those together for now. And then I'm going to want to do an inside part for this card too. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp my ribbon while I've got it right here. Then I won't have to do that again later. So we'll stamp that. Isn't that cute? And then we're going to stamp the... I won't need this anymore, do I? Yes, I do, because I need the little ink bottle. Hi, Joyce. Oh, it's nice to see you. Okay, so Joyce, could you explain what you mean? Because my comment says, is it different from the stamps? And I'm not sure what your it is that you're referring to. And Freddie is thank you, Freddie, for saying you always share. I thought you did. So I missed that spot, so I need to do that again. I'll do a drawing for last week's video. After I'm done here, I'll shut it down and then I'll come back on and do that again. Or I don't know, maybe I'll just do it here. We'll see. Thank you, Joyce. So Joyce, let me know what you mean by is it different from the stamps, because I'm not sure. I am chatting and not looking, and so I'm not sure what I was talking about at that moment. Okay, so, oh, I know. I bet I know what you're talking about, because Joyce, I bet the only stamps that I think you have right now are clear mount ones. Am I correct? And what I'm talking about are not clear mount, I mean photopolymer. I think you have just these nice, the clear photopolymer stamps, right? And that's what I used for the background of this card. But it starts with art ones have this rubber, they are rubber stamps. They call them clear mount stamp or cling mount stamps. But they're not clear. They are your traditional rubber stamps. The photopolymer clear ones are a relatively new thing. Oh, the little things are different on the card? Okay, that's what you're talking about. So you already know all about these stamps, and I'm just yammering for nothing. Okay, just wanted to make sure that was not the issue. Okay, so this is the stamp set I'm using. It starts with art. You can start, Joyce, you're a demonstrator. Anyone who is a demonstrator can start ordering these things today. But everyone else who is not a demonstrator has to wait till tomorrow. It's not available until tomorrow. And, okay, the next thing I want is this little phrase, you follow your art. Isn't that cute? Instead of heart, follow your art. And I'm going to do this in a little, I'm going to use that Cajun Craze. You shared too? Oh, excellent, Joyce. I always need people to say shared. Because I don't know, and that's why people are not winning in my drawing, because Facebook doesn't tell me that they've shared, and unless you write it down, I don't know. Okay, so we're done with that. I'm just trying to clean my stamp before I mess that up. As you can see, I'm sort of an untidy, when I cook, it's sort of the same thing. Things start to come out and they don't get put away, and I like to just keep going rather than stop to do that. But then all of a sudden your cooking space has shrunk to almost nothing, because you've got like every jar and measuring tool and bowl and pot and pan all over the cabinet, and the food's all out. Anyway, it's just a hazard of crafting and cooking. Okay, so those are all the things that I'm going to cut out. I am still going to need my mango medley, because I need to do the little lines around this follow your art. So I don't need that stamp set. I think we're finished with for now. I'm going to use the little lines from the swirly frames. I want just the straight lines. So I'll grab that out. Okay, and we'll try to put it on straight on the block. That's sort of a tricky thing. If I don't get it straight on the block, it's harder for me to stamp it straight. Okay, so I think it's on there nice and straight. And now let's see if I can get a nice, I'm going to sort of pull it close to me, because I need it to be very close to the words. I want this, oops, I sort of flubbed that a little, but that's okay. I want it to be a super small label. Oop, I actually want to make that shorter. I want it to fit the words a little better. Okay, so that's all I did for that. And now we're done with our swirly frames. This is a wonderful background stamp. It's got little cross hatch ones and straight lines. You know, so these are cross hatched. Those are just straight, and that one's just straight. But you could take these for the straight ones, and you could add cross hatching on there if you wanted to. It's pretty cool. All right, and then I'm going to just cut my label out with my scissors. I could use a stitched die, but I decided I wanted to just kind of keep it simple. There. Okay, so that label is done. And then we're going to just use our Mango Medley light and dark for the pens. So this one is dark. Okay, we'll start with the little pointy end. And I used it just on the pencil and on the fancy pen. And the artist who drew this did not add any highlighting for us there, except for this one little line down here. But that's going to be ivory for me. So as I was looking at this, I was thinking, okay, there's really no hint of shadow. Generally, if you just make the outside dark, it's going to work. So I'm going to leave this center bit white and not color it at all. I'm just going to put in some dark here and there, not a lot, just on the lines a bit. And I'm creating this as the bottom. And on the pencil, you know how a pencil is like a hexagon? So I'm going to do dark on both sides of these. But I'm going to do the same thing. Just I'm going to try to leave this middle part white. And then I will use the color lifter to fill it in. So you'll get to see what I'm talking about. So this is the color lifter. I'm going to use the fat part. As you use the color lifter, you want to clean your nib. It's going to blend that together, but it's going to also let there be some white in here. Now, it's not a blender. It is a color lifter, but so it can sometimes make it a little light. This is a pencil, so I'm fine with it, but it's a little lighter. So I want to make sure I use my light Mango Medley to color in this much of this. Okay, you can see how you see this little bit of dark there? So I'm going to just color this in again, and then it's going to just blend that together beautifully. Okay, and I'm going to go over that just a little bit, but not a ton, and we'll try to blend that. I'm not sure that it's going to. I might have to pull my yellow in to get that to work. We'll see. It kind of worked. Now I could use if I wanted to, I could use this, get just a tiny bit and add that in. But, you know what? I wouldn't recommend doing that. I'm afraid that it would, if you did it a lot, I think it might ruin this. So I think if you were going to do something like that, you might want to, oh, Marla, I'm glad you found me too. Awesome. Make sure you share, and then if you share every video, write shared so that I know you shared it, and then I'll enter you in the drawing, because I do a drawing once a week for every video. Yeah, you don't want to ruin your blending pens. They're expensive. And the aqua marker or aqua paintbrush, aqua painter, yeah, it would work better there. Although you can't really use that with your blending pen, so that's why I did what I did. But that's not something I would do regularly. Okay, so here's my secret weapon, people. This is the ivory blending pen, sort of hidden in the catalog. Easy to lose, but that's what is, it's a nice light brown that doesn't get so carried away with itself that you can't see the color that you you wanted originally. So even though we're using Cajun Craze as our main color, the Cajun Craze blending pens are just ridiculously dark. I started with the light Cajun Craze because I knew it would be dark. And using the fine tip pen, now I flubbed that bottle a little bit right there, so I'm not going to use that one. So I am going to just use this light Cajun Craze just for some highlighting here. Okay, just now the artist on the ink bottle added some shadow lines. Those little extra lines are where there would be shadow. So I'm following that guide. It's always best to just stick with what your artist has put in. If you're an artist yourself, you can add in extra things. I am not, so I limit myself. The dark Cajun Craze is incredibly dark. If I used it, it would cover everything. You wouldn't see anything. So I got out my light pumpkin pie. And I probably started with the dark pumpkin pie, but realized quickly enough, even the dark pumpkin pie is going to be way too dark. All right, so it's a little more orangey than I wanted, but it's better than having it super, super dark. And then I'm going to use my pumpkin pie this time to try to darken that up a bit. Although that's pretty orangey, so maybe I'll go back to my Cajun Craze. Try to get some of that actual brown, sort of that burnt sienna. For those of you who are into Crayola crayons, that burnt sienna was one of my favorites as a little kid. I loved that color. And then for this fancy pen that's in the middle, I think I want to do the same combo. So I'll use, I'll start with my the light Cajun Craze, and just add in where the artist has put in some highlights. We're going to try to make this size or side of the pen is the bottom. Okay. And, well, I wasn't quite happy with this. I don't know. When I did it here, I used Cajun Craze on that ink part, apparently. So I'm going to use this small tip. It's a little easier to control the flow of your color. So if you're not sure about the darkness of something, use the fine tip, and then that can help. It's a little better, but it's still not quite happy with it. I do usually when you're looking at your ink bottles, the bottle part is a little darker than the label because obviously it's got ink in it, right? And then you did too, Freddie. Okay, I am going to use my color lifter to try to. I rarely use that side. This side I have a lot more luck on. So I'm going to try to pull off a little bit of what I just laid on there, just to try to give a little bit more dimension to this. Because it's a bottle, right? So now it looks a little bit more multi-dimensional, and now I can attempt to work this out. And I'm not so sure that this is working as well as I thought. But on my card, it is fairly orange because I just didn't want to lose every highlight. And those that Cajun Craze is just way too dark. I would like to have a lighter version of it, and you can do it with watercolor. And but the thing is that the alcohol pens are so easy. Burnt sienna, that was it. Burnt sienna. They're easy to use, so I really like using them. But if you're a fussy artist, I think you'd probably prefer watercoloring. to the blending pens. So if anyone's out there and you are a fussy artist person, you can let me know if that's correct, or if what your secrets are to making this work better. Okay, that always takes a long time. Now, we have classes that do take 2 hours. We only do two items. This time I'm just doing that Bird Ballad shadow box, and that will take the 2 hours to do that. And this is why we spend a great deal of time doing this sort of thing. And we don't have to, because actually I can get these things done pretty quickly, but that's sort of, I'm used to it, right? So people who are relatively new, that it's going to take a while. And so that's why I only charge $10 usually for every class, because we only do 2 cards. And it's been really pleasant to only do 2 cards. I don't feel rushed. I know they're going to get everything done without me having to say, well, would you like to come back to finish? Or would you like to take it with you? Because, of course, it's all done up and ready to go like a kit, but shoot, no one wants to do that, so it works out. Now I'm going to cut this and ignore the machine that I am using. You can use any machine that you want, but I need to cut out our pens and such. So here's the little die that's going to cut out the pencils. And I haven't used that piece, so I'm not even going to get it out, but I want to show you I have used this button. It's a border, a button border, and it's probably in my little bag here somewhere. I used it with foil. It's so cute. And there's also this really sweet, I love it, this little flag border. Oh, it turned out so cute. Oh my goodness. I don't need any of these things, but they are cute. And I somehow got a stitched rectangle in there, so I need to take that out. I don't believe the stitched rectangle goes in here, but I could be wrong. I'll check later and see. There's the little ink bottle, and we do need that. Okay, but I also, out of foil, cut the little paper clip. And when you use the paper clip and cut it, it actually creates 2 paper clips. It's sort of a little miracle, actually. One is fatter than the other. We're going to be using the thin, skinny one. That's the intentional paper clip. And there's a whole bunch of these buttons. But I'm not going to spend all the time cutting those out. I see I've already taken almost a whole hour. And you're too old to be fussy? Very good. That's one reason I love these dies, because you do not have to fussy cut them, and they're perfect. They cut out much more perfectly than I can, although I'll have to do that one separate. My magnet board is being difficult there. You can see how warped my plates are. I do have new plates. I should probably get them, but I'm of the sort that uses until you have to throw away. Which is pretty funny. So did you see how easily that cut out? It did leave a little line because I'm kind of in a rush and I didn't want to move it. I saw it was moving itself a little bit, but that's okay. It's close enough. And yes, when you're old, you realize, you know what? Actually, the idea that things are perfect isn't even a real concept. It's something for movies and theater and art, the art world, or photos where you can Photoshop, everything. And in real life, the beauty is in the unusual and in the accident a lot of the time, right? So if you just learn to go with it, it'll be best. And the bottle cut out really nicely, though, so I am happy about that. When you do get the odd, rare time that things work perfectly, it's wonderful. So I think I can put my machine up there. And the bad thing about these is that if I do not put them all away right away, I tend to lose them. And I think I better just lay this guy on top. I'll stick him kind of in and out, and then I'll remember that I've got to check that to see whether he really belongs or not. Okay, so our card is almost finished. Thank you for waiting with me while I got this all done. I'm going to use my scissors just to trim my pencil a tiny bit since it did get over. Whenever you do, leave a little bit of a white border. You do want a little bit of white, especially if some of it is big. You know what? Here's another thing I just noticed. I don't see my... What did I do with... Oh, I've lost my... Somehow I managed to lose my color lifter. Oh, it went on the floor. That's why. I went out of the lines, it looks like, talking about imperfections right here. But with this magic color lifter, you can actually fix those flubs, which is nice. If you can, why not, right? Okay, so there we go. I'm going to put my pencils on here like this. I want my little label to look like it's just been written with this. So we'll put a few dimensionals on here and get that on next. Bob Ross said there are no mistakes, just happy little... I love Bob Ross. Happy little accidents. I still love watching Bob Ross. It's neat that when you go, that you can find all of those things on YouTube. You know, you can watch all those old shows. He's really, he was such a calming influence on when I was a kid. Actually, my life was somewhat chaotic. So, not because of me, but just because of my family's circumstances. So Bob Ross was always a very calming influence in my life, which is pretty funny, but the sad truth. All right, so I'm kind of using the edge of my dimensionals packet to stick that on there, but I was afraid it was going to go off if I went all the way up, so I sort of had to tear it a little bit. I just don't want it to show when I stick it on my card. This is going to be trickier. I'm going to have to trim to get my pencil on. They do sell, Stampin' Up sells foam strips, and I actually do have them, but I think they're fairly thick too, so I don't think it would make it any easier for me. And I can always just trim if I need to, and I did need to. That was pretty fat. And then this one also is going to be, might need a trim. I'm using these half dimensionals here. That'll probably work. And then the ink bottle. We'll stick the pointy part up there. All right. Ooh, I think that's all I need for that. For now, I'm not done. We're not done. I just need to get all of these pieces. Now, when I'm creating a card, and I'm sure everybody does this, it's not anything new, I like to lay all of my elements on it and adjust. So, in doing this card, I adjusted a great deal before I actually finished. And because my circular pattern is slightly different, I suppose if I was sitting here all by myself and had all day... Hi, Linda. It's nice to see you. I'm glad you shared. Awesome. So at the end of this video, I will, I'll try to remember everybody's names that I think. Jewel was in the discussion in the video. She probably shared and didn't add shared. As I was looking at it, Marty Grimm was the only one that looked like they had shared, but Freddie says she always shares, and I think you do too. And so, I'll just put everybody's name in the pot. So when you cut out your paper clips, they come this, if I can separate it, like a real paper clip. It's sort of difficult. Okay, this is the real paper clip. When you cut it out, you get this. But if you do one tiny little snip and separate it, you get this fatter version, which I will use. So I'm just saying, for one run through, you actually can get a couple of paper clips. Those aren't the colors we need, though. We need just the gold one. I might have to use my fancy pink one because I'm not sure that I have another gold one in here. I thought I did, but I'm not seeing it. It's a pretty small piece. I wanted to use this. I'll just dump all these things out. There we go. There's a fat one, so I'll just use the fat one. And then there's this square button, which I loved, the square button. It's so cute. And, oh, did I throw away my excess? I had a bunch of excess string from my card, I thought, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I just thought I did. And then this bigger button we'll use there. So that's what we're going to do. And then I'm just going to tie up the gold cord on those buttons. Those are the things that if you have arthritis, my hands are getting that way. My sister has quite a bit of arthritis in her hands, and that is unfortunately the lot of many of us. Once you reach a certain age, sometimes things aren't working as well as they used to, and there's really very little you can do about that. But you know what? It's amazing how it doesn't slow anybody down too much. Everyone that I know who has those issues is just working through the pain, because the pain is still there. They haven't, they may have done surgery and all of that, but there's still an element of pain involved. Oops, sorry for bumping that camera. Okay, so I had to go cut another bit of this copper cord, and look at this. I've got dimensionals stuck all over my scissors, which means I usually have a pair of scissors that I use to cut adhesive stuff, because now my scissors are going to be all gummy, and I used the wrong scissors, so I'll have to clean those. What a dope. All right, now we'll thread our button. Thankfully the buttonholes are nice and roomy, so I can, well, having said that, then I lost it, but there it is. It's there. Then I can get that tied pretty quickly. Nor normally I could anyway. We'll see about today. I'm just doing a knot, so it shouldn't be too difficult. I think in the other one I ended up having enough to do a little bow. So we'll do a little bow on this one. Oh my goodness, I think I accidentally had my disc thing trying to eject over there. I'm having all kinds of issues today. Interesting. Okay. So Linda, I hope you are having a good day. Freddie, you were bounced from home to home too. Yes, my poor mother. She is gone now, and she was a single mom, and she also had a very difficult life herself with a single mom, which was very unusual. She was born in the 30s, so when you're a child, teenager in the 50s growing up, it was a very unusual to be in that situation. So sometimes people aren't always that kind when they think that, you might have just brought things on yourself. And it's always just best to realize, what, not everyone has had as nice of a situation as you have. And maybe if you had experienced this, you might realize that. There's an old movie called Mr. Lucky. Now, if you have not rented or seen Mr. Lucky and you like old black and white movies like I do, I would highly recommend it. It's about a guy like I'm talking about who's had a rough time, and he's played by Cary Grant. So how great can that be, all right? Cary Grant and Lorraine Day. And Lorraine Day is this little rich hoity-toity girl who falls in love with Cary Grant, of course. But there's this wonderful scene in Mr. Lucky where he describes to her how outrageous it would be for her to be anything but an upstanding citizen because of her family upbringing. And the irony in all of the film and everything, and a lot of those old films, which is why my husband and I love them so much, is the irony is that oftentimes in old films it's portrayed in a way that's actually very accurate, where sometimes the lower classes are classier than the higher classes. And they actually are kinder and more generous. And sometimes they just, because they've had it rough, they know what it can be like. And if you have chosen to be an upstanding person, then you're oftentimes more generous because you know that it isn't because you're such a nice person that you are. It's just because, you know what? It's the right thing to do. All right. Now, there's a lot of really nice, fancy people out there, too. So I don't want to say anything bad about them because actually, you know what? Life happens to everyone, and we all end up figuring out that the things that we thought we were in control of, we really aren't. And we should just be thanking God that we have things as nice as we do, because some people don't have those things, and it's not through anything that they did or said or anything. Okay, there's that. Almost done. And that. Okay, now for those little guys, we will just put a tiny bit of liquid glue on those. Now, I love this little fine tip glue. It has this, which takes, I'll have to put this away later because it's like, oh, I got to get my eyes right on that. But this little piece goes in there and keeps this from plugging up, usually. So I'm going to say usually because sometimes when I get in here to do this, I realize, somehow it is plugged, and I'm going to have to get a little needle and stick in there. But no, I see it coming out, but it's very, very fine. And that way I am not going to get a ton of it all over. And I'm going to be able to place this right where I want it, and it should stay pretty well. Even on this little skinny guy. This glue is going to miraculously get it to stay down. So I think that should be pretty good. All right. Oh, that's the problem. It always sticks to my hand. Sticks to my hand, not to the paper. And then it's like, oh, I know I've got all the glue all over the place, and it won't. There. Whew. You got to get it down fast or it's going to... Okay, so then I'm going to just want to wipe that a little bit. And I'm going to have to take off my glasses because I do want to get this little needle back in here quickly. I do not use this glue in class too much because I'd like to keep it nice. Isn't that terrible of me? Okay, we are done. I am going to still need to cut this and lay it on the inside, but I am going to do that later. This is our finished card. Isn't that cute? And I am going to look at my list that I've kind of started right here. And these were my viewers. And we're going to assume that they shared. And actually, that's not my list. Marty. And we'll put Joyce in. I'm not sure if Joyce was viewing with us last week. I know Linda did. I know Marty shared. She's the only one I know. I know Jewel was watching. And Freddie. All right. And, oh, I don't think Joyce Puglia, I don't think she has been with me for a little bit. I haven't seen her for a bit. I hope I'm not missing anyone. I thought my friend Karen, I think she was watching, and actually I know Michelle was too. They probably shared also. Okay, so we will go ahead and do the drawing. And I'll have to go grab my little basket. Actually, maybe I'll just use my little crate here. Got all kinds of things in there. I usually keep a bunch of dimensionals in there, but I can use my crate. And that way I can get my, thank you, Joyce. All right, so for this video, share this video, and then next week I will draw for that one. This is from last week's, which was the Everything Rosy one. All right, I am going to swing you guys up here in a moment, but let's let you enjoy the suspense of who I'm going to pick. Thank you, Linda. I've got them mixed up really well, and I'm holding it away from my face so I cannot see. And Michelle. Now, I'm going to see if Michelle actually shared, because she'll be honest with me, and I'm going to pick another one just in case she says, oh, no, I didn't. Freddie. So, Freddie, you won. Awesome. And actually, I think I'll give Michelle a bonus prize of some kind, but I'm going to go ahead and, I know Freddie shared and she was here today, so we're going to call the winner today, Freddie. And thank you for sharing. I'm going to flip my camera up really quick. Oh, I've got a low battery, and so I hope I'm on still, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.